somewhere else in the next couple months. All right, we should be live.
Sweet.
We are live there. We'll hit marker. New year, new you. Here goes.
This is Wise and Nerdy, where fatherhood meets fandom.
How do you like that for a short intro? Right into the mix. Some hot music. I believe Steven Adams wrote this music. I'm not sure.
Yeah, totally. It's all me all day.
Yeah, we promise there be no fact checking here, so we're all good.
Great.
Oh, welcome to the new Wise and Nerdy, where I talk to people I actually like and not Joe and Kurt. So there's I am Rock Out Podcasting Charles McFall, and I'm joined by Steven _Adams.
Hello, Charles. Thank you for having me back on this show. I am so excited. Though I have big shoes to fill, I'm not going to fill those shoes. I brought my own, so I'm ready to go. Let's do this thing.
I like it. I like
it. Wise and foolhardy, or whatever this show is now.
So Joe he's off every year, and I've worked with Joe for, I don't know, 7-8 years now. I still have no idea why he's gone at the first of the year. I'm sure it's a big religious pilgrimage up to Calgary to bury himself in the snow for a week. I don't know what he's doing. That just made sense to me. So if you heard some of his crazy dad stories, you might get that. And then Kurt is sick, and then Kurt's going to be out the next 2 weeks. So
it's falling apart. Pod fading, Charles.
Hey, not everybody can go 20 years, baby. That's all, it takes a special person like Brian Ibbett and myself. That's all I'm gonna say.
There you go.
But oh my God, speaking of Brian Ibbett though, the length of Coverville, like I'll be in random conversations with people like, oh man, I really like cover songs. You should listen to Coverville. Oh, I do. I listen to that all the time. I was like, hey, I know Brian Ibbett, and they have no idea. They don't care anymore. They just heard Coverville and they were off. I'm like, but I know him. He's my friend. Look, he's in my phone. I promise.
Yeah. I have touched the stars. I get to meet him. I'm going to TMS Vegas in April this year, so I'm pretty pumped.
It depends on what you really want to do, because none of this is true. But you could always say to him, Charles said, if I dropped his name, you'd give me like a big kiss on the lips or something, I
don't think I want that.
Yeah, no, that idiot. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's great.
So, but Steven, the funniest part is when I talked to Kurt, because it's supposed to be Kurt and I tonight, because Joe is scheduled off every year again. Don't know what he's doing. And I said, Kurt, who do you want? I haven't had Bob on in a while. There's some other people I'd love to talk to. He goes, let's get Steven Adams. That's my Kurt voice. I don't know. I was like, all right. I immediately got on Discord. Like, hey, man, can you do next week? You're like, yeah, I'll get back to you. And it's like, cool. And then you did. And then tonight at 6:35 p.m., I'm sick as a dog. Like, don't worry about it. Me and Charlie Brown have it. It's cool.
Yeah, we can ride. I'm in the sidecar. I'm ready to go. I'm Robin to your Batman.
I will take it every day. And we don't even have a swear jar like you have to do for Smashies. I think I'm better in Smashy.
No. Yeah. You clean. This is the clean cut podcasting show.
We sort of. We have a question of the week, but before that, Steven, have you re-downloaded TikTok yet, sir?
I did. I downloaded TikTok for you, good. And I watched some TikToks. But I'm trying. So you're heroin. You familiar with that?
I am in my heroin era right now.
Yeah. So everyone's got a phase, No, I'm trying really hard to not be on TikTok. But then you were like, "Hey, man, what if we did stuff together on TikTok?" Yeah. I'm like, oh god. So I have it like hidden on my phone, and I try not to look at it unless I want to create something. I haven't created anything yet, but post holidays, I'm going to try to ease in, but if it takes over my life again, Charles McFall, I'm coming for you.
It's called being a professional and doing research. That's all it is, son. That's all it is. But I'll do a video tomorrow and tag you, because that was one of the things I pitched. It's like, hey, I want to tag creators so we can do a time separated conversation. And I'm going to tag Smashy because it's going to involve her, and that's going to be fun.
Perfect.
I'm going to change up the format a little bit going into 25. As you hear, we shortened up the intro finally, and I did it despite Kurt because he was gone. So I'm going to play it the next 3 weeks, and after that, we'll play the full version with the wrong stuff on it just to mess with him. But tonight, the scotch I am drinking is Powers Gold Label 86. It is an Irish whiskey. Are you a brown spirit of the gods drinker, sir?
I have friends that are, and I drink with them once a year on a camping trip. We pull our money. A buddy of mine is part of a Scotch network, because we're in North Carolina. You can't just get anything you want anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, gotcha.
So there's a network. Hey, I'm flying to Wyoming next week. Anybody want me to bring home anything? And then he'll get like a classy bottle of Scotch or a bourbon. I'm saying Scotch. I mean bourbon. They're different.
Whiskey, Scotch, bourbon. They're in the same line.
Yeah, strong liquors. Anyway, and I do really enjoy having a sip of those when we get together. They're great. I've had a handful of really delicious bourbons, but not to the point where I'm not in the network. I'm not seeking them out. But if they're around, I'll join you.
Yeah. All right. I'll remember that for Dragon Con. Hey. I'm getting on your radar early. Dragon Con's not for 9 more months. All right. But the Rock God post-con party has never been graced by Steven_Adams. I'd like to change that.
I don't know if this is the year. No promises. But we'll see.
You just have to get Tuesday off. That's the only ask. It's like just one more day off of work. Just don't be sick this year. You'll be fine.
Oh gosh, yeah. I'm on pins and needles for the sickness thing, man. I try. I'm so scared every year when we plan it. I'm 2 weeks before. I'm locked inside. Don't touch me. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah. I quote Ricky Bobby all the time. I was like, don't put that juju on me, Ricky Bobby. I got too much to do. You cover your mouth. You get away from me. I eat airborne like it's an investment in crypto. It's crazy. And we do have a question a week, but I'm getting there. I'm saving you money, Steven. I just dropped one day at Disney. It's $1,000, $2,000 you'll save, and just take an extra day off. Take Tuesday off for Dragon Con and be here Monday night. That's it. See, and it won't cost you anything. So I'm saving
Monday night.
Really.
Just Monday night. Okay. Is it a kid-friendly shindig that you're throwing? Okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe we'll
see. There's some adult beverages around, but we don't just hand them out willy-nilly. We make the kid pay for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I want is just make sure he's paying and understands the cost.
He understands how this works. Like, it's $5 for the drink. It's $50 should not tell your dad. All right, cool.
Right.
Because your dad, I need $50. Don't ask. Uncle Charles said don't ask.
I'm not allowed to tell you.
So here is why are we at 0 watchers? Where's Random Kid? Where is Devo? Apparently it's just me and you, Beatty. But Beatty,
you know what?
I'm with Ned Beatty tonight. Steven Adams.
The podcast listeners don't need to know no one's here. Charles?
I know, but I miss Rando Kid.
I know. Where's Rando Kid?
It's a disappointment. All right.
Dang it.
What did I just do? I just lost my question of the week. Okay. Here's the question of the week from Joe many weeks ago. What do you think of New Year's resolutions, and have you ever been successful?
Oh, what a good question.
I think they're crap. No, I haven't.
I'm not a New Year's resolution fan. To be fair, I'm not a New Year's fan. I'm not a cynical person by nature. I'm a very positive, whimsical, I love believing things are there. I'm that kind of person. But New Year's, I don't care. I hate it. I don't understand it. I go to bed, I wake up, nothing's changed. The laundry's still in the basket. I don't know. I'm not a new person all of a sudden. I don't get to start over. All I can do, and this is the way I face every day. I wake up, try to do the best you can do, and keep moving through your day. And I'm not a good planner, so New Year's resolutions don't work for me. But one thing I do like, and I can share this with your captive audience, is I like trying to pick a theme for the year. I like trying to pick a word that means something to me or to my family that we can write down on the whiteboard and just kind of refer back to. Like last year, it was all about consistency. Like if whatever we do, let's just try and do it regularly. Let's try and make some habits throughout the year. And sometimes that's successful. It wasn't real specific. It was just, okay, this is one thing I want to look at as we move through the year, every once in a while, just go, are we being consistent with the meals? Are we being consistent with doing our homework on time? Am I doing consistent things with my job and journaling and those kind of things? So this year's word is authenticity. I've chosen authenticity because I feel like as a people pleaser, I like to I analyze the things I say to people to try and make sure that they are the things that person is comfortable hearing or wants to hear. And that can be nice when you're in a group of strangers and you don't want to cause any conflict. But the problem is you can create connections with people that you weren't ever naturally going to get along with that you now have to get along with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's tough. So authenticity can help you find the people that are actually in your space that you can really enjoy and be with.
Saying, nah, I'm good. That's not what I meant at all. Yeah, that's tough to do. And I think back of when I was, side note, I need a time machine just to bring my younger bored self now to get more stuff done now because I don't have the time. I still have all the desires and some of the energy. I just don't have the time. But, when I was young and really hungry, had nothing better to do. I was really just building the empire that is podcasting that I'm in now. And we're at a conference and it took like the third person of what you were just saying, just people that I don't resonate with what you're doing, although I didn't really understand resonation then and the words that I just don't click with what you're doing. This isn't where I want to go. I feel like I'm in the wrong place. And after the third person, like, oh my God, Success Street, you got to come do this. And I ended up on top of this gaudy Winnebago inside of the expo hall with this long-haired rock and roll guy trying to do this edgy stuff. And everything was brought to you by Gunner Glasses and this and that. And I was like, why am I sitting on top of this Winnebago doing an interview that actually has nothing to do with me? I need to figure out how to go, nah, I'm good, dog.
Yeah. 100%.
Hard.
Yeah, that's it. And just I want to make sure that when I present myself, I'm presenting myself as who I am, not who I think that person will be comfortable with. And that's hard.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try because there's so many conversations. Like, you ever had the conversation with people like boneless or bone-in buffalo wings?
Sure.
And people are like, people are serious, like steak people. Oh, you put A1 steak sauce on your steak. What the heck is wrong with you? And you know what? I'm going to say it right here for your people. I like boneless wings, and I'm not ashamed, and they're good. Yeah. Get off my lawn. I don't know what to tell you.
I love it. Like, boneless wings aren't real wings. Guess what, dude? Last time I checked, the buffalo doesn't have wings. So, they're chicken. It's all chicken, man. It's all chicken.
Yeah.
Devo did make it, and I appreciate Devo here. Sorry, no speak bites tonight. Had to run interference from my wife at 90% off at Hobby Lobby. Yeah,
that's
no kidding. That's a lot. So the question of the week, Devo, is what do you think of New Year's resolutions? Have you ever been successful? That's where we're talking about authenticity because you set a theme. So about the why. Now, I grew up hating New Year's resolutions just for, honestly, the same reason I hate Valentine's Day and most holidays. It's, why as a human race do we need an excuse to do something? And that's just what I grew up around and saw was excuse. I can be a bad person, but New Year's Day I would resolve. And it's always, right, because like Southern Baptist Church, it was always, I'm going to quit smoking or quit drinking. Every time. Maybe somebody might quietly say, quit cheating on my wife, but they didn't get real loud about that. And that's what you heard the church calls. I'm going to quit smoking. What's magic about the day? Like you said, you wake up, the laundry's there. Now, and why wait? And that's what in my circles, and that's the other thing too, as you move through life, as you focus on what you want, you start attracting the people that think the way you think. And so I dare say, this is just a bad question for the show, because I would dare say that most of our hosts, I can't say for sure, but I'm pretty sure our hosts and probably most of our audience think alike in the sense of, let's just get things done. Let's make a change today. Michael Jackson, I grew up with that. Make that change. So
it's a good impression. That was great.
Yeah. I often get mistaken for Michael out in public.
Yeah, I figured you did.
Now it's Demon Slayer, right? Everybody thinks I'm the big bad from Demon Slayer, but it's whatever. So I hate them, especially if you make them like that night, because usually you're just caught up in the moment, the energy to tomorrow. No, but that's the bad why. Now, something that one of my partners has pointed out to me is that while numbers and times can be arbitrary, because they are. I mean, we made them up, right? We have to, our brains want to hang on to something. So, there was always, the moon cycles and the sun cycles, and we just put numbers on it. But our brains like to hang on to something. He goes, I like to make changes like the 15th of the month, because the world works on this schedule, and it lets us get into the month and see what's going on, make the change and see how it affects without having the big money change, this, that, and the other. So, okay, I can hang on to that. For me, it's triggers for whatever reason the last couple of years around Halloween. I get to thinking about my year and go, I guess, because since we hit November, like the year's over, man. We got some holidays, we're out. So I think about what I did and where I want to go next year. And then I start right away. And so I talked to you about some TikToks. I've so far put out 4 or 5 daily TikToks. Yesterday I did not do one, and today I talked about it, and I'm good with that because it's not about the number; it is about getting what you want. And so if that works for you, if you have been successful, then don't let me rain on your parade. Don't let me take away your energy. Now, I'll take it back. It's not crap if you did it and it works for you, because that's the thing, There's so many diets out there. I'm like, they're all stupid. But if you're like, but I did this diet and it worked for you. Well, of course, that's not stupid for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
The skinny
if it
little
works.
stick. I appreciate you.
What I've heard about the dieting thing is it's just, honestly, for me, it's just putting in a little bit of effort. Like, it's not being lazy about my food choices. That's all, and that makes the world of a difference. If not going to Bojangles for breakfast because I don't have
fair.
bacon in the house.
Go
to the grocery store and get the bacon.
Bit, sure. Good. And that's just as bad, right? I give my one of my business partners so much grief because he doesn't do it intentionally, but he'll say something just naturally. I mean, I tower over him. I'm like the big guy around him. And he'll say something about big guy. I'm like, there you go, fat shaming me again. He's like, no, man, dude. But it is just bad. Because I was leading it. If you're not watching, you should be. I was leading it and going, I was going to go, how heavy are you soaking wet? Why are we talking about diets, Steven_Adams? Because,
Look, not all of the diet is about the fat you carry. Sometimes I got heart junk. Like there's things I should be mindful of.
Yeah. Steven's heart junk is he's got the biggest heart in the world. That's his heart junk right there. So, but that is what you say is also true. I think I have a great healthy lifestyle now. However, I'm still overweight and heavy, and it wears on me sometimes. But I'm not putting that energy in to do what would come next, which is the exercise and burning more calories or whatever else it would take to do that. Because, it can be triggering for some to say just count calories, because that's not the answer for everybody either. No. But I'll prefer a healthy. Today, I won't go into the long story because we got other stuff to talk about on the show. But I was like, I'm hungry in the morning, which is unusual for me, but I was really hungry this morning. So I better get her. I'll get cranky today. And I was like, I don't want to go because I'm thinking about my path to work and what's on that quick little path in Athens before I get to the office. Because I don't like getting out of my car and I don't want to leave the office once I get there. I'm just that guy. And so I'm like, I don't want Chick-fil-A. I don't want anything fried this morning. So, you know what? I love Panera Bread, but I didn't want to get out of my car. And it's further down the road. So I was like, I'll go by Starbucks and get a nice coffee and a bagel. A little pricey, but nope, the line was way too long. I didn't have any patience for that. Ended up going to Chick-fil-A, and I guess they were looking out for my health because I ordered a chicken biscuit with cheese. I got a butter biscuit with cheese, and I was pissed.
That's not the same.
All right, let's see. It is not the same.
Roll that.
All right, Joe's not here, so I'm going to just clack it myself. Oh, and it's a 3, which is how do I? This one goes right to you, Steven. You are in the midst of this right now. How do I make big changes as a team And right now, you and your wife are a team
Sure.
swapping out 3 rooms in your house.
Yeah. Oh man, big changes as a team.
Because us dads, right? If we just tackled it, we do it our way and we get it done our way. But
Yeah, but you
that's
got to
gonna work,
involve,
right?
yeah, you got to involve everybody. And sometimes that's easy, sometimes it's hard. Really be on the same page about what you want to do. If it takes it, sit down and write the plan out. Like, what do we want this to be? How do we want this to go? What do we want to do with these switches? Anytime you're with a team trying to make big changes, it's about communication. Like, yeah, like Charles said, we're swapping out 3 rooms in our house upstairs. So basically moving kid's playroom, we're turning that into his bedroom, taking his bedroom, putting it in the previous office, moving the office into his bedroom. Because the space reasoning makes a lot more sense this way. It means I get a bigger office, he gets everything he needs, we're all set. But like, that's a big undertaking because you're doing the shuffle, you're moving stuff out of a room into a hallway. That can get, if both of you didn't want to do it, that could get really tense really fast, because you're like, now I got all this crap in my hallway and I didn't want to do this in the first place. Now my back hurts and my legs hurt. None of this happened because me and my wife both agreed that this was the plan. This is how we wanted to execute. And we were both tired. We were both grumpy about it with each other against the house. Not against each other, against the amount of stuff we have.
Yes.
That was where, so like, especially married man, back to back against the world. You and your wife argue with the world, not with each other. That is the secret, one of the many. But that is one that I'll give you.
What about, so in a project like this, you obviously worked on it together. You agreed on the plan. Now, do you go in together and start working on the rooms, or are you like, hey, you know what? My specialty is just go over there. I'll call you when I need you. I'll just take care of this stuff.
Sure. I know what her strengths are, and she knows what my strengths are. And they're really complementary, sort of. They're very opposite. Like, I'm very, okay, let's just move it.
Stop fake booking it. Tell us some details, Steven.
Yeah, okay, so, like, when it comes to what hangs on the wall and where does that desk go once we get it into the room? That's all her. Where do you want to be? I'm the easygoing one in the group. It didn't matter to me a whole lot how it happened. So when it comes to that, it's just her going, let's put this desk over here, let's do this over here, and where I can compliment her, I'm just like, I'm willing to try it. Let's see what it feels like. Does it work? Does it not work? Being willing to go into it, try it, see what happens, and if you don't like it, just swap it out. Like, I mean, honestly, we would never move these rooms again, because I swear, moving into a new house would be easier than moving within a house. That was a nightmare. But yeah, we just have very complementary skill sets that she's more visual, she's more able to plan. She can look at a wall and she can say, I know what I want to hang there. Where I look at a wall and say, that's a nice blank wall. I don't know what to do with it. I need to draw it. When you watch those HGTV shows and they're like, here's your kitchen now, and they draw the lines all over it. That's like, we're going to put an island right here. I need that to happen if I'm going to understand what we're looking at.
Now,
I can't visualize.
Oh, I can visualize, but when I'm serving myself, like I have a whole wall over here with nothing on it. I got a wall over here with some cool stuff on it. I'm not happy with what's behind me. And I kind of want somebody else to come in and go, oh man, this space is cool, but you know what would really be cool over here? If you just kind of moved your desk this way, I'm like, thank you. I just needed that one little insight. Now everything will fall into place. I need like an AI assistant to just like break the wall down for me. Not to do it. Yeah.
Just to get the boilerplate out of the way. Kick it off. Show me some inspiration. And that's where sites like Pinterest and Reddit come in. You can go to Pinterest and you can get ideas upon ideas upon ideas that at least will help you kind of break down the wall and be like, okay, now I got a plan. I just need to figure out how to execute it. Because I can't start from scratch. I'm really bad at that. I need some sort of fuel to get going on.
Now, and what you said about you both caring and specialties and strengths, that's my thing as well, is whoever cares the most should lead or be the spokesperson or whatever. And I remember my wife and I moved into our first duplex together. We did not communicate at all, Steven, at all. And so I'm like, I didn't think about it. Every time I moved, I've always been the big guy. So it's me and my dad, and we just go do whatever. And then later on, once we were tired, the lady folk would go in and decor, put it out in box, whatever. Yeah, I grew up in the deep South. And so when we moved into our duplex, that's kind of, well, I mean, I'm not treating her like lady folks. Like, you can come in and carry stuff if you want, but my whole thing was get it into the basic rooms, get it all, get it off the truck. It's got to come off the truck and in the house, and then we're done, and we're like, we put a bookcase into one of the rooms, and we put some boxes, and we came back in, and my wife's sitting there putting books on the bookcase. I lost it, dude. I lost that 25, 24-year-old me, whatever it was, tormented, angry, did not handle that well. I'm like, I don't even remember what I said, to be honest, but it was something along the lines of, what kind of idiot unboxes these things when we're walking right through here? Just go get some on the truck. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I at 24, nice guy me would have likely done the same thing. Because I would be like, we're not even close to what you're doing right now. Like, you need to stop, pause, go get more crap out of the truck. Well, the truck needs to be out of the driveway before U-Haul closes. That's the goal. Yeah, I understand where you came from. Maybe both of us would have handled it well, not well at that age.
Yeah.
But I get it. I empathize with your position there.
But I think part of doing big changes as a team, well, dude, you nailed it, was you have to both say we're going in this direction. And then it just becomes about details. My wife basically moved, well, not by herself. We had neighborhood people, whatever, but I did not move into this house at all. For the first time ever, I didn't lift a hand because I was like, one, I keep going to work and put the money on the table while y'all finish this up. Two, you got your brother who owes us a whole lot, and it's across the street. It's just take some wheelbarrow. You got kids. You got this other neighborhood guy who wants $20. Dud. And I just didn't care. I said, well, what do you think about this? And I give my opinion after she put it up. I was like, yeah, that's fine. He said, well, do this, do that for me. Okay, done. Put up boards, put up pictures. I do not care ultimately about the house. I didn't have a vision for her house. I just needed to live. She needed it to thrive. So I supported her and all that. And that's a thing. But man, when you're with somebody who doesn't care, like obviously I cared some, but like if I were to ask her to come help me in my studio, she doesn't care. So she'd be useless. I mean, she would move anything I asked her to. She'd put up anything, but she's like, what do you want? Like, well, if I knew what I wanted, I wouldn't have done a whole show about it. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, you gotta, and two, it's about knowing what your spouse needs and just being there, just to support. Like if she wanted this office to look a certain way, I would just be like, you know what? It's for your mental health as well as mine. You deserve just as much say in where things go and how things work. You just got to look out for it's the nuances, man.
Yeah.
If you have a problem communicating and telling someone what you want because you feel guilty that you want it or whatever, it's kind of like, I mean, I've been with Stephanie for 20 years. Like I know when she's not telling me what she needs and how to look for what she actually wants. Be like, okay, so if that's a struggle for you or for your team, whatever that may be, kind of look for those nuances. That quiet person that's not chiming in, like, do they really not care? Or have you been around them long enough to know they care a lot? They're just not sure if they're comfortable expressing it. Go dig that out of them.
And my wife's like you with this. She can't visualize things. I can look at a blueprint and see the house, and she can't do it that way. But I've always been, when I reference myself as a big guy, I can just move furniture. Right. And I've always been that guy. So there's a couple times like, I really think we should try this. And the first time she's like, I don't know, whatever. And I'm like, well, I'll just move it because I just move it back, and some jerky couches around throwing things. And it's like, yep, that works. And it worked. And after the second or third time I did, now it's just like, I'm thinking, she's like, whatever, just do it. Just go for it. It'll be fine. So yeah. Well, that was a good one. I like that you're taking that adventure, because that's a huge adventure to swap up rooms like that.
It's been. I regret nothing. It has been the best. We gained like a good 10 square feet of office space just moving to a different room, and it mattered. So I'm happy. Yeah.
No, that's another 3. All right, here we go. It is time for a commercial break, and I don't have my music set up yet, so I gotta. We'll go get there. Here we go. I'm just gonna pull something random here. I hadn't done this in a while. No, there we go. Kick off the new year big time. You want to see more of Steven Adams this year? Join onlyfans.com/H&H Steven. Now go to patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy. And when you pledge your pledge, say, I need to see more Steven, and we'll start offering him money, and he'll come on more. It'll be great. Let's see. Oh, have your voice on the show. We don't have any of that tonight, but go to wiseandnerdy.com/calldad and leave a voicemail. And we'll be back in just a minute. Oh, man, I have got to start making some of my own music because I want to do kind of a mix of that with like meditational music with just this kind of upbeat, but you feel some cool energy in it and stuff. And I know I don't even need the tool. I'm just using it as an excuse if I don't have my MIDI keyboard with the buttons and whatever. But I think this year I'll at least get one done. It might not be great. It might not ever hear or see the light of day for people to hear it, but I gotta get one done. That'll be good. If you'd like to have some of my music, go to patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy. Steven, I'm gonna put you on the spot. We don't have a question set for a couple of weeks out. So is there a question of the week that you think would fit our show?
Oh, geez.
What's a good conversation starter that you throw out at your work meetings?
I got it. This is courtesy of Ashley, my co-host on Horseshoes and Hand Grenades. If you were to show or tell someone who has no concept of James Bond, none at all, what movie to start with, what movie would it be and why?
All right.
There. That's the best I got.
That's a good, wise and nerdy question. All right. Got it.
I'm very interested in the answers to that one because I know where I went.
So
I know
tough.
where Jacob went. I know where Ashley went. I'm just curious where we're landing. And the why is most fascinating. How you navigate the mind map to get where you're going is what's magic about that.
Oh, so Steven, what are you nerding out about?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked this question. This is exciting. Actually, it's not that exciting. It's exciting for me because I'm embarking on stuff. So I got really interested in this concept of the second brain. Are you familiar with the second brain, Charles?
I think I've heard the term, but no.
Yeah. So this guy by the name of Tiago Forte, I don't know if he originated the second brain idea, but he wrote a book called Building Your Second Brain. And basically, it's the idea that we have so much content and so much stuff coming in, like into our brain somehow, one way or the other. You watch a YouTube video, you hear a certain person say a fascinating quote, you listen to an amazing podcast like Wise and Nerdy or Finding the Stories whenever it finally has another episode. And you're like, I need to remember that.
Good reference there.
Yeah, good. And so you need to store that, right? So this is about the concept of note-taking as a way of managing all that incoming information. And one of the ways to do that is with digital, means like a software. Some people use something like Evernote. I'm a big fan of Obsidian as a note-taking system. But basically a way to kind of create a system around, I thought of something, I want to remember that, I don't want to forget it, and putting that into your notes. And it can round out the things like an audio memo on your iPhone. I'm driving down the road. I can't write anything down, but I can take an audio memo. Or, and this is something that's practiced by celebrities. A lot of people know and love. Taylor Swift, famous for having her face in her phone, usually writing down a lyric as soon as it hits her brain, out of context, doesn't matter, just sounded good. puts it in the phone, sings a little melody into the phone because she's on a bus. She's never on a bus unless it's her bus.
For bus, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But, the idea that you shouldn't let inspiration get past you because you're going to forget it. You're going to walk down the street. You're going to lose that moment.
Yeah.
You're going to be going to bed at night. You're going to sing a little melody in your head and you're going to be like, oh, that's cool. And you're going to fall asleep. You're not going to remember it when you wake up. So it's about just instantly saving stuff. And then when you're browsing the web, grabbing YouTube videos. And so I've been working through this system and trying to create one for myself. And I got real proud of myself today because I was like, I watched a video on 10 habits I should have started 10 years ago. And they were listing off 10 habits that they regret not having when they were younger. And I was like, this is really cool info, but I want to save the whole video. So this is real nerdy, but YouTube offers transcription. But they don't offer you a way to easily download the transcription. So I found a little service that lets you put in a URL for the YouTube video, download the transcription to a text file. I run a local AI at home for like dealing with files and searching through stuff. So I uploaded that transcription to the AI and I asked it, hey, can you summarize this for me? Make sure to call out the 10 points that he mentions. And it summarized it just perfectly, dropped it into a note for myself to keep, tagged it as like reference, life improvement or whatever I used. I can't remember now. I don't have to because it's in my notes. And then I can go back and reference it anytime I want. And so I'm trying to work this whole thing into my workflow. Like I did it tonight. I was sitting there thinking of a thing and I was like, I need to remember that. Just like passed it by. I wasn't going to write it down or anything. I was going to go through it like I normally do. I was going to read it and keep moving. And I was like, no, I'm going to stop and I'm going to write that in my phone real quick. And then I'm going to move on. And I've got it now. I've got the thing that I was trying to think of, which was related to note taking. But now I can go back and reference it if I need to. So it's this cool method. Anyway, I'm a big fan. I'm nerding about it right now. I've been watching YouTube videos, trying to learn other people's systems for it. Trying to not pretend I'm being productive by getting into it. You know how sometimes you can pick a new system and you're more excited about the system than you actually are about doing anything useful with it. So I'm trying to be mindful of that as I work through it. But so far, it feels pretty good. I've been taking actions. Travis and I got some irons in the fire for an idea, and I've just been, and we talked about this the last time I was on a show with you. We were on Be Awesome together. I was like, I'm going to start doing stuff when I think about it. And I just hit Travis up the other day. I'm like, I've thought of these 5 things. You don't have to reply now. I just need to get it out of my brain and into yours so you can noodle it with me. And I mean, shoot, we got a start date for the project we're thinking about because we just took action. And that's what this whole second brain idea is. Actionable stuff. Do it when you're thinking about it. Don't let it get away from you. Don't let it drift out of your brain forever. And that's been fun. I've been enjoying messing with that.
I need a good AI assistant. It can be, I don't care what it can be. I need to be able to say, hey, Jarvis, and have it go, and spit that out, that phrase, or hey, here's an idea, just take it down, and it can dictate to it. 'Cause I'm always driving. I'm a big talker. I've had a thing called Rocket Book where you take notes and you scan it, uploads it. I never go back and look at those notes ever.
Yeah.
You know, I in college and in high school, I made a habit of if I can write it, I can remember it, and that does help a lot. And then if I don't remember something, I just write it again. But I'm going to ask you about Obsidian, but I really love the idea of going, oh, I got this thought, hey, Jarvis, blah, and then maybe later I go, hey, can you take that 5 minutes of randomness that I threw at you and summarize it? And is there anything out there that you know of that I could just do that with right now?
Not out of the box that I'm aware of. And a listener at home might have like, oh yeah, you can do that with doot.scoot.io. But I don't know. I know I watch a YouTuber named Network Chuck, who's a super duper nerd, and he's been doing what you're talking about. He has been building at home using open source software and solutions for him. But he's an uber nerd. He doesn't have an out of the box fix for it, but there are different tools that you can wire together to kind of do stuff like that. It's like the YouTube thing with the transcripting.
Well, I mean, even if I had steps, right?
Yeah.
Even the YouTube one, okay. you said it wasn't an easy way to download it, so you whatever. But I get it. You take the YouTube transcript, you put it. I can copy and paste it into Chat GPT.
Yeah.
Love my Chat GPT. Now I don't pay for the Chat GPT yet, so maybe they have some plugins I can say, because I just want to go from dictation to understandable notes, because I used to keep a book on me to write down my joke ideas or story ideas and those kind of things for even that I have. You know, I was looking at my backpacks in the house. I'll read it to you. I got into my feels one night, meaning the bourbon, and I just like, oh, here's a genius new opening for finding the stories, and it's all about throughout mankind. The only thing to stay consistent is just telling the story and this and that, the other, and blah blah. And what's better than telling the story was being in the moment and creating the story. So right now we're gonna create this together with my guest Stephen_Adams. You know, that kind of thing. And I wrote it down, and I still have that book. I just keep it in my backpack, but I don't always have it on me, especially when I'm driving. Right. So that's. Yeah, I'm okay with a thing like Zapier, if for those nerds out there. You know, it's a if this do that kind of service. Right. Like, okay, cool. For a low amount of money, I will invest in myself to be able to do that. To be able to go, bam, this idea. I tried it with Joe. AI Joe is not great, because I was like, just for notes later, because I'm dictating to Siri or whatever, and I was like, just for, and I spit out just this idea. It was for our upcoming live show, but I was driving. He comes back with, huh? And I'm like, just for notes. He goes, I don't know what you mean. I'm like, call Joe. Joe, this is so I know I texted it to you. I can open up my text and go, that's where I wrote it, because I thought Joe would have said this. He goes, oh, like, you're killing me.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, there are systems for that. Like, I'm thinking of one. I think it's called Whisper. I don't know if you can download it or if they run a service.
Download Whisper on my laptop.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can feed it an audio file. Yeah, feed it an audio file that you've dictated, or maybe you can dictate directly to it, and it will transcribe it for you. And then you could take the transcription and throw it into your notes for yourself. Or if it was 9 minutes of you just spewing whatever thing into your head, you could dump that into your Chat GPT and say, summarize it, and then you would get what you wanted out of it. But the problem with Whisper, I think it has to listen in real time. I might be wrong about that. So it takes time to process an audio file. So if it's like 10 minutes of audio, it might be listening to you talk for that full 10 minutes. Not everything can be sped up.
Because I heard about that on a writing show. I actually listened to I forget the name of the podcast. I have to pull it up because I want to. Mary Robinette Cowell is a friend of mine and a great author, and she has a podcast that I've been listening to about writing called Writing Excuses, and she co-hosts it with three other hosts. And it is literally about, here's a thing to go try with your character. Here's this and that. But what I get out of it is storytelling, both for finding the stories and being on stage and working my game shows. Like what they talk about with their characters, my character is just the audience. And so, you know, I love it. But they talked about, one of them, I believe on that show, said something about Whisper, and they paid for it, and that's how they get the transcriptions from the podcast. And so, yeah, I did go download the free version. I've forgotten to mess with it on my laptop because I'm going back to Apple. I made that mistake a while back and went to Android. Don't ever do that. And so I don't want to, on my work Apple, I don't want to tie my personal stuff to it. So I'm gotta wait till I can upgrade in a few months, and I'll go to the newest Apple, and then I'll get all my apps back. But why Obsidian? You referenced that one for yourself earlier.
Yeah, I'm excuse me, sorry. Markdown. Are you familiar with that as like a writing quick formatting tool? Markdown?
I've heard of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to use it, but yeah, it just, it kind of
it bolds things and titles and links and stuff. It's like a quick shorthand, easy to make links kind of stuff. Obsidian's fully written in Markdown. Like every note you make, you can use Markdown syntax to highlight stuff, to make notes. It has a really good internal linking system. So think of it like Wikipedia. Like you can actually like make 2 brackets, type a note name, and it will either find an existing note that has that name or create a new one for you. So you can like map all your notes together and like link things. But the cool part about Obsidian, this is the selling point to me, is it's all in plain text. Every single one of my notes is stored on my desktop in a plain text note. I can open them with Notepad. I don't have to have Obsidian. Nice. So it's transportable. Like if I decide I hate Obsidian, they did something terrible and I'm canceling them. They're not a paid service, but if it was, I'd be like, I'm getting out of this boat. I could take all those files and still read them. They're not locked into some ecosystem that I can't get them out of. And that to me is a big selling point. It's got a massive support community. Like there's plugin system that's just got anything you could dream of. There's pretty much a plugin for it. Whether that's like creating stuff quickly, like templating is a big deal in it. So I have a daily note that I can pop up. So if I want to journal, I have like a heading for gratitude. I have a heading for like just a journal. I have top of mind items. I have like scripture references. If I'm doing like a Bible study, it all pops in there. And I can just get everything I need to write in my face right when I open the app. Which is pretty great. So I could ramble on forever about it. I'm not going to do that. But I'm a big fan of the way it works, portability in the system, and it has a syncing service. If you pay for it, you can sync it across multiple devices. So everywhere you sit down, all your notes are there. Pretty rad. Yeah.
I remember back in the day messing with Evernote some. I've just, when it clicks, and it's honestly kind of rare for a piece of software to click with me for a very long time. Like TikTok just landed for me. I mean, it just clicked. I was okay on Facebook, hated Twitter from the get-go. YouTube is fine, it just wasn't my jam, but TikTok it clicked. I can't think of very much software that's ever been helpful. That's all helpful, but that has just gone on for me. So
yeah. I chase the dragon a lot, Charles. I'm a software junkie. I get on this software and I think it's the greatest in the world. Obsidian has kept my attention for well over a year. If that says anything, I bounce around all the time, and it's managed to be the thing I go to consistently. Thanks to a lot of YouTube videos. YouTube, how to use Obsidian, and there's 8 million super nerds that look way too attractive to be on YouTube, being like, hey, we're here to talk about Obsidian and what we're going to do today. And I'm like, I'm too ugly for this service. Too old. I don't need to. But no, it's great. Why is that guy's eyes so blue? What is he doing? Why is his muscles out? What is going on?
Why is his hair look? He just washed it. He's leaning forward with the curls. Yeah.
Yeah. Why are we talking about software? He should be like modeling Calvin Klein underwear or something.
Why is his shirt in the corner? I mean, I don't hate it, but why is it not on him?
It's the way it is. The world we live in.
That's what I love about Reaper. It did click with me early on, and that one I've carried with me 8-10 years. And like you said, if I go, hey, I got this crazy idea, how do I fill in the blank with Reaper? 10 videos.
Yeah,
always. There's never we haven't thought about that. It's like, no, here somebody else thought about it. Here's how we do it. Cool.
Yeah, but for content creation for you and me too. Like, I'm thinking about the Reaper thing. There's so many Reaper videos where the person is explaining the concept, but not in a way that I know what they're talking about.
Oh, I know, right?
Right?
Yeah, that one.
But I made a video once on how to mix minus with Reaper and Audacity, or Reaper and Voicemeeter, and it got thousands of views because everyone I watched was just all up their own butt, or just like explaining it so weirdly. I'm like, what are they talking about? So I went like, click this button, click that button, click this button.
Yes. Yes. If I had more time in life, and when that's why I need that time machine. When I did have more time, I wasn't in the mindset, or maybe I was ahead of the game and YouTube couldn't support it, whatever. But I want to make a channel just called Get to the Point. And it's that, just everything of how to fix something. I made an Anchor video because they gave me back before COVID. Anchor was doing. I was in their community, and you could test out things, and you'd pitch yourself working at it. And I got a number of things to review for them and do videos. And when it was a doorbell, and when I looked up the installation video, I was like, oh my God. So I did I'm gonna get to the point. You do like you did. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do that. Done. Biggest video I've ever had hit on my personal page. Just like, everybody's like, thank you. It was just insane. Why is it a 30-minute video for this doorbell?
Yeah.
Don't. What is a how-to? don't unbox that crap.
No.
This isn't some kid's show. We're not unboxing things. It's like, here's your tools, here's your stuff. Indian Motorcycles is the best about that. They love to teach you how to work on your own bike, and every official Indian motorcycle video I've seen is like, pause the screen for your tools. And it's just that. It's just a still shot, 5 seconds. So you pause it. There's a list of the things you need. Here's a list of the steps you're going to take. And then you go to the video and they go, book, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom.
They probably got that from flipping Bob Ross when he was like, pause your video for your paint colors. Now moving on. Man, like just do that. We can pause. It's fine. Don't talk about all of them. Just go. Nobody has that kind of time.
I know, right? And so your thing really fits into my thing, which is I'm kind of nerding about being good at tech, being good at what I do, putting on the show. Because I like knowing that when I never think I'm an expert on anything. Well, not on anything, but a lot of things. So I was like, I want to try this projector out, and I did, and I rented one. I was like, okay, no. I was thinking, okay, I think this is pretty much where I would land in projector affordability and the quality I want. Yeah, I'd actually like higher quality, but I want to keep the price down. And right before Christmas, I just had a wild hair, and it had a bonus. Like, you know what? Did the dumbest thing you think you could do, except post-COVID world is a world where people don't go shopping. So that's pretty okay. I was like, I'm on my way home from work. It's the night before the work party. I'm just going to swing in the Best Buy, see if there's a projector I want to pick up within this basic price range, and go. And well, there wasn't hardly anybody. I mean, there's a few people, but a ton of people there. I did a little bit of research in the car before I went in. And went looking, because I'm not going to go until I don't have any projectors, in stock. Ended up getting a higher grade and a little more expensive projector than I intended to get. I couldn't quite see the differences on the online comparison, right? The lumens are very, very close, but then there was this and that. So, I'm going to go with the slightly expensive one, because even though I don't understand everything it's telling me about why it's different, I got enough of it to go, with that kind of price, or like double the price. So with that kind of price difference, I think I'm going to get the whole package here.
Yeah.
And I did. It was fantastic. I've been playing. It wasn't here. I've been playing in my man cave, like New Year's Eve, man. All I did was sit here with the window open, just chilling, play Diablo 4 for like 6 hours. It's fantastic. The New Year's Day, my wife's like, her family was coming over, and they're all football people. Our house is not a football house. I don't care. But they always like to have it on. And our house now is not quite set up to flow for that. So they'd be kind of in the living room, but it's also set up just for our family to watch TV. So not to kind of have a part. Aaron's like, can you put up the projector in here? I'm like, we'll see. I mean, I got a nice bright one that works in the daytime now. And that's my biggest thing, was the one, the cheap. When I say cheap, it was $60 on Amazon. Cheap. That it has to be pitch black for you to see anything on it. So I'm like, well, I got this new one. Sure, I'll set up. Yeah, you can get the football game. I'm like, what football game? I mean, there's only a dozen going on New Year's Day. I mean, they're all spread out. She goes, you can just do Disney Plus. This guy ESPN. I was like, we don't pay for that. And then she saw one of the ones I did a search on. It said Sling. She's like, oh, we'll just get Sling. Like, we are not getting Sling. That's like a cable network kind of. I'm not getting Sling. Long story short, I was like, fine. I love being good at tech, and I sure enough got my projector set up all right. And somebody, I think her brother, actually it was her brother, had bought ESPN through Hulu or something like that. So he just gave me his login to Hulu, pulled it right up, and it's like, cool, it's all running. And I said, now, do you really want the bar experience? Because I can make it to where, like, you go to one of those public bars and it's so loud, you got to talk like this, but you love the game. And we settled in between, because I'm like, no, I got big speakers. I got the power amp. I will blast. Now that I got how to get the game on, I got you, boo. And
that's awesome.
Like, and being, well, I don't know about you. I can't say for you, but for me, I'm always critical of a screen. And I just want it perfect. It's got to be squared. I want it to be the biggest thing possible. And the only one we had this big whiteboard on it. So I have to fit in the whiteboard, because nobody else is going to care, but I'm not having anything overlap the edges of the whiteboard. It's going to drive me crazy. Yeah. But it just, even with the sunlight thing, it just looked crisp and cool. And I can stand like parallel to it, and you can still see it. I mean, the dimensions are a little off, but you still see everything unlike a TV. I'm like, this is so cool. And everyone's like, you got to do this every time, man. Thanks for, oh, so cool. It's like magic. And like, I like being the showman.
It
Perhaps the
feels
greatest
good.
showman.
Yeah, you're the wizard. And to you,
Right.
it's like, no, I just hooked these like 3 things together and it worked. But to them, no idea. You are doing wizardy things.
Yeah.
They couldn't do that if they had to. It's insane.
Random kid. No, they're fired. You have to get over it. I love having Steven on. Spelled it incorrectly like I do. But I guess I'll have to watch the Clips channel to get my Joe and Kurt fix. Hey, look. Kurt's sick. Joe's on, I don't know where Joe is. He's on sabbatical or whatever. We covered that.
I have them actually both tied up behind me. They are screaming. They just want me to let them back on the air.
And, you know, some shows will do a traditional April Fools. We do a traditional new host, new year every year. Because last year, no, 2 years ago, we just hit 300, and Emmett had helped start a Pokemon Go podcast, and he couldn't be on, and so the first episode in the new year was going to be. He got his dates wrong. So then Joe couldn't be on. So it's 301, episode 300 again is what we titled it. So Emmett came on, and it was the first episode of the new year. So it's being Emmett, and yeah, that's how it goes. But yeah, Joe and Kurt's out there. You'll find them. All right,
Yeah,
let's see where we're going next. Not that one. Well, let's see. All right, so we're going to do, you said you got some bad dad jokes?
Oh, yeah. I got a bad dad joke for you. Really
right,
good.
Steven.
Really
Let's
good,
see.
bad. How do you tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
I don't know.
One you see later, one you see in a while.
Oh my God, Steven. Wow.
That's bad. That's courtesy of my buddy Kent because he has all the dad jokes. So anytime I come on this show, I say, Kent, load me up. I need one.
I've heard that one too, and I didn't remember. I just block it out of my brain.
It's because it's terrible.
It is. And you and Joe, y'all love those things so much.
I love them. They're the best. I love a good joke.
So do you tell dad jokes to your kid?
No, not really. I don't remember them. This is another thing that goes back to the notes thing. I hear them and I love them, but I don't write them down, so I always forget them and I don't remember the punchline. But I'm a fan of the dad joke. I'm a fan of the Laffy Taffy back of the wrapper. A lot of people groan. To me, I am being given a gift, a wonderful gift. They're trying to see me have some joy, and by golly, I'm not going to be a hater. I'm going to get it. You know what? Fun stuff. I'm in. Let's go.
I think you know that my dad, he's retired now, but he was a Southern Baptist preacher.
Yeah.
You would have loved his sermons because he loved getting in his kicks. It's only on Sunday nights, right? Sunday mornings were proper.
Oh, yeah.
Sunday nights are a little bit more loose. And he's like, I was between 14 and 16 years old. So I'm like, I hate this guy. But I just remember him being up in the pulpit on Sunday night, and he's like, I can tell you, there are cars in the Bible. There's cars in the Bible. And it was like, what are you talking about, preacher? And he's like, that Honda's in the Bible. It says in Matthew, whatever, all the disciples got into one accord. And I'm like, I'm out.
I've heard that one before.
They're laughing. And I'm like, I just need to study at the School of Andrew Dice Clay or something. I can't do that. I cannot. Which is why I have very aggressive, well, now it toes the line, but very R-rated humor. Because I just went the opposite direction of all that. I can't.
Yeah. I love when you do your Southern Baptist church impression. It all sounds like a snake handling church. Tell us a story, preacher man.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're into snake handling church, who am I to say? Do your thing. Not here to offend. Just
cliches. That's not a bad idea, random kid. He says you guys should talk about a favorite cliche dad sayings, like when a kid says they're hurt and dad responds, well, I guess you need to chop it off. Maybe in the bad dad jokes, we could, or cliches and throw that in. Because that
I have said
is
that
right up there with it. You've said that.
I have said that. Yeah.
I said, get the Windex. That's from my Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah. We do the Mr. Miyagi around here. We do the old rub the hands together, and my son swears it works.
Let's see. All right. So, Daddy, tell me a story about nicknames or your mistaken phrases that your kid has come up with. And while we think about that,
I got one for that. Yeah.
Full run through, volunteers for a digital media track, says, I was at Minecon 2013, tried to show a German guy the joke in the back of a Laffy Taffy. He couldn't fully understand how to comprehend them. It was sure a language barrier for puns. That's, I got to pretend like I don't speak English when you guys say these things. But yeah, so that I appreciate how old your son was. I figured at the ripe old age of 9 that somehow a nickname or a mispronunciation or something came out. And it sounded like you had a story land.
My favorite story, one of my favorite stories of all time with Sam. He's probably, let's put about 3-4 years old. He's a very verbal kid. He was speaking really early because I don't stop talking, so it plays. But so we're at a beach house with my family. Here in North Carolina, you go to the coast and you rent a beach house for a week with like 3 or 4 families, and that's what you do to vacation. That's how we operate. We're not rolling in it. That's just how it works here. So we're at this beach house. There's a hot tub in the back, and we're spending the day out there. Sam's loving it. He's in the hot tub. He's in the pool. He's in the hot tub. And we're drinking pina coladas. So I'm making pina coladas. I'm giving it to him. He's having one without alcohol in it, of course. And I'm just sitting on the back porch. He evidently had finished his because he yells out unprompted, "Daddy, can you make me one of those pina coladas?" And I've never recovered from him yelling that as loud as he could across the porch. And now we always call it a pina colada. Anytime we make pina coladas.
That's hilarious. That kind of reminds me of one night I was at dinner with friends, and they had a small kid, and they had, how, maybe this will be the second part of this conversation.
Sure.
Have you done something that you thought was funny, but then the kid didn't fully comprehend it, but they kept repeating it, and it made it worse? So this is where this guy just gets in this jokey mood or whatever, and he does the dumbest jokes and pranks, and his son had to be 5, 6. We're at this adult dinner, like, a restaurant, and the kids are off to this other little table, and his son comes around and just pats him on the arm while he's talking, and he's like, "What?" And his son goes, it just blows water on his face, which is obviously something that he had done to his kid at home or something. He got so angry, but the rest of us just laughed our butts off. It's like, dude, little dude, you're going to get your butt whooped when you get home, but that was killer. That was so good. Your dad's a jerk, and he deserved it. It's awesome. My oldest, he's just the most laid back. Nothing phases him. Well, now it does. He's a little angry monkey for some reason, and I don't know where that came from, honestly. But when he was little, he just would go up and talk to people and do things. And we're actually in this neighborhood because her brother still lives a couple of houses down, and they're at his uncle's house. He couldn't have been 3, 4 years old. And the city was out doing something with the sewer system or whatever, and a big old backhoe was there, and this and that and the other. And he came out, and we're very rural. It's a big mix of African Americans and Hispanics and white people, and it's about even where we are. So odds are you're just gonna talk to somebody that doesn't look like you. And my son gets that. He doesn't care. He just talked to people. And this little 3 or 4 year old goes up to the guy operating the backhoe. And of course, the dude was super nice. "Hey, man, how's it going?" He's like, "I like your digger." And we're like, ooh. And the guy was like, he was African American. And he's like, it's a good digger, isn't it? And we're like, oh, thank God you heard through the little 3-year-old lisp there, because that came off really, oh my God, dude. And the guy let him drive and stuff. But we're like,
Oh
whoa.
yeah.
You know,
It's so bad when they're still learning to enunciate really well, and you're like, what? That word does not sound like what you said. It's what I know you're trying to say. We need to get that right. If you thought of speech therapy, child, it's time to go.
I think a week later, the police were out there for something, and of course, lights up. He's oh, cool. So they took a picture of him, hands up against the car, and a cop frisking him down, and he thought it was the greatest thing ever. They're like, yeah, that's my kid.
That's the best.
Saying weird things and getting arrested. And it's awesome. And he is also the one. Okay. So this goes into kind of the bad things you teach him. But my dad never would pick out the names. Like, do you want grandpa? What pop? What do you want? Whatever they call us. All right. You're going to let a 2-year-old pick the name that you're going to be called for the rest of your life. And we were trying grandpa because he didn't really, there was nothing there, whatever. And somehow he was trying to say Geepaw, and it came out Keepaw. I don't know, but my dad for the rest of his life now is Keepaw, right? All right, that's not been a name for a grandfather ever, but sure, we'll go with that crap. But I did teach him this. So, Steven, what have you taught your kid, or did a joke that they went a little too far with when he was 2 or 3, old enough toddler, old enough to still hold up? I taught him, it was like, Get anybody to ask, get them to ask you for money, and you go, yeah, and then you smack them. And so if they ask you for money, he's like, go get your own money. And so he's okay. And I held him up, and his keep all of this, like, hey, ask him for $5. He goes, hey, can I have $5? He goes, come here. And my dad leaves, he goes, smack, no, go get money. And I thought it was the funniest thing. Other people didn't, but yeah. So what about you? What about you?
I have been searching the deep wrinkles of my brain, and I can't think of one because I'm not a practical joker, so I never set him up for that. I'm trying to think of anything I've said where he's ran around and like maybe repeated it, and he shouldn't have. But I can't. I got nothing for you. I'm sorry. I'm bombing out on you right now.
You're all right. I got another one, but here, full run through says, we watched The Lion King with our 7-year-old, and during the intro of the Circle of Life, I started singing pink pajamas, penguins on the bottom. And if you think about the rhythm, Circle of Life, yeah, you can get it there. Yes, and tonight we're at Walmart, and the kiddo is singing that at the top of his lungs the whole time. I was a full-on paramedic when we had my first kid. And when I say full-on, I use the F word as a punctuation or an accent in every sentence, every other word, just about. And so, first pregnancy, my wife did the really ignorant first mother thing of, we're going to have to change our language. We're going to have to figure out. I'm like, how about I do the professional thing and teach our kid time and place and know your audience? Because I think that'll give them more skills in life than just to be like, well, we don't say F-bombs. But sure, I'll try it. Well, one day we're sitting in the bed, and he said, jackass. And like, I whipped at her, and she just looked guilty, and because she had been in the car, and somebody cut her off, and she yelled jackass, and then he started copying it. She didn't tell me. She tried to just tell him to stop saying it, and it didn't. We're like, oh, the guy that everybody, I don't mean just my wife, my family, her family, co-workers that I don't give a crap about, we're like, Charles, you gotta change your language. Guess who taught him the first swear word? And not me. But he did learn time and place, because a while later he had this beautiful metal truck, and I didn't see it one morning. I kicked it with my toe, and it was not the word fart, but it's fart. Just your world goes white. It was pain. You can't see because that toe is just screaming. And I just kind of put my head against the wall because I'm trying not to just lose my everything and break walls and throw things. Next morning, he comes, or maybe it was later that day, I don't remember. But, we'd been hanging out or whatever. And he barely bumped it with his foot, and he realized what he did. He looks at me, and he goes over to the wall, and he starts in his own voice going, fart, fart, fart. And I'm like, all right, bud, I'm going to allow it. That's appropriate. You hurt yourself, you can say that. However, you go to Keepaw's house and do that, you're going to get hurt worse. Just saying. Now, 30-year-old to a 2-year-old, my hands are clean. You've been told, son. You got the logic. Go for it.
Oh, sure. Yeah. That's the thing. Like with me, like me and my wife are not swearers. We never have been. I've never really been a big swear word user. I don't know why. I don't swear.
I know you don't. It's written all over you. You're an all shucks kind of Andy Griffin spirit channeling kind of dude.
Yeah, I'm a Yosemite Sam swear. If I hit my toe, I'm like, I just make random noises. Yeah. But like my kid's mystified at bad words, like mystified. Like he started saying crap recently, and me and his mom were trying to overreact about stuff. 9-year-old crap's kind of borderline, whether that sounds good or doesn't sound good coming out of a kid. And I'm not here to judge other people. I'm just saying that's how we operate. So he's like, crap, a bad word. I'm like, well, it's not a bad word. You just probably should avoid saying it at school because some people frown on it and you might get you in trouble. Yep. So he started saying, I'm like, that's fine. But then he was watching a show and they said sucks a lot. And he's like, is that a bad word? I'm like, that's also kind of a not cool word. I don't really want you saying it right now. Maybe you get older and you get no context and all that. Maybe. But my mom used to just call them ugly words. She didn't call them bad words.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. She always called them ugly words. It's not a word that you want to use frequently. It's just a word you want to avoid. But I'm also of the mind, like, I am the anomaly in the swear usage. Most people who are 39 use them when needed, or sometimes when even not needed. And I'm like, my kid likely will swear because that would be wild if he didn't to me. So I have made the approach, like you have, context and timing. And if you need it for a punctuation, like the way I put it is, they should have power, and that power should work when you want them to. And if you use them all the time, you'll sap their power, and people won't know when you're serious. So then when you're
phone,
like when you're serious and you need to get people's attention, and you need to lean on a word to do it, you need to have a word in your pocket that makes everybody go, "Oh crap, Sam, all right? That didn't sound good." People they'll straighten up because it's unusual for you. So, and I knew kids in like when I was in 6th grade who would just drop F-bombs behind the teacher's back and stuff, and they were dumb. They were just dumb kids.
It reminds me of a Key and Peele skit. My wife should do.
Yes.
And I was like, and then they look around and go, I was like, yeah.
I love that one.
Yeah. Dramatic effect, random kid. Dramatic effect should not be underestimated. 100%.
Yeah. If I need one, I will grab one, and it will likely get your attention.
I want that should be Those That Are Days Patreon, or if it doesn't fit there, put it on Wise and Nerdy Patreon. We'll give you a cut. But I want for that patronage, just some racy word laden scenes like from say hello to my little friend whatever.
Al Pacino, Scarface,
yeah. Like a Scarface speech that Steven has to read one take because I want to hear him giggling. It's like, no, come on, man, I'm not saying that. I just want him, and that's it. You get 5 minutes of Steven trying to read this monologue that is not Steven at all, and I think it'd be golden. Oh, gosh. It'd be so good.
Don't give them ideas. My dignity's not for sale, Charles. I'm not doing it.
You don't get 20 years in the business without selling some dignity, sir. We perform for a living. Come on.
You're not wrong.
Oh, man. All right, so we've got one more. I like that. The WNN Sailors cut.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Bad censorship is always funny. Like misplaced. Yeah. I could take which I haven't done it Yeah, but like I could take an interview with Steven for finding the stories and then just put a sailor or a censored cut and just randomly censor some of the words he says. And it's hilarious.
It would be
just,
amazing.
yeah. I'm like, what did he say? So good. We did that. Parliament of Papas. We've talked about some fatherhood stuff tonight. Earlier today, before the show, you were talking about how it seems like this generation is getting dumber with some of the things that's said and how things are said. And I don't know if it's a generational thing or if it's a societal thing, but it did inspire me to bring this to the parliament. If you would like to join the parliament, it is patreon.com/wise_and_nerdy. And you too can be, and the Discord's free. And actually, it's Linktree/wise_and_nerdy. You can get into the Discord, become part of the parliament. You can, pledge. You can buy our votes, if you will. You can buy our political loyalty in the parliament by joining up at the Patreon. But to the parliament, I ask, how are you making choices, or what choices are you making to raise kids in this era, this age that we live in?
That's a big question. That's not like a little, yes, let me give you my 3 points that I'm working with today.
But it can be, it's this, we can keep it so kind of surface. So
sure.
Well, we talked about time and place, the swearing or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I push my kids without them really knowing the words to be professional all the time, and they can interact with adults on a higher level. And I don't like embarrass somebody, but if we go out to, well, one of the examples you gave, you go like a coffee shop and you put Steven on there and they go, Stefan, so
bad.
Whatever. I'd pull my kid aside, be like, learn how to speak. Learn how to, when somebody says their name, listen to how they say it. Ask how they say it. And I always get acknowledged because I say names fairly correctly most of the time, and they can be complicated names, but I've learned how to phonetically break things down, understand, well, that looks kind of German, so there might be this kind of inflection, and because people want their name. And honestly, Steven, you do perform somewhat for a living. You and I know you do this at Dragon Con when you go to moderate. You go, what's your name? How do you say it? For me, I have to get him to say it 3-4 times. But I'll sit there. I have no ego. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this right. Say it again. And I'll repeat it back because it's just a practice, like a joke or a song note or whatever. So that's something I teach my kids is, well, when somebody's stupid, we're going to point out why they're stupid so you can learn, but not embarrass them, but quietly point out that you can learn to do different.
Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
Wait a second. Charles is talking about correct pronunciation. I can't say it now. What's in the Twilight Zone going here? Names. When I'm actually trying to do it for a living, I will never call Pokemon names correctly if I can help it. It's the way it goes.
The name thing's so important, dude. So you mentioned I do I do podcast-ish hosting stuff for work, right? And we have an international team of people everywhere. And so when we're going to highlight somebody as like a contributor that we want to highlight for the week or our demo days or whatever, we have this big thing. Tell us a fun fact about you, how long you've been at the company, your name, all that stuff. And in that form, because I have to pronounce it, I made that form specifically with a phonetic pronunciation of your name field. And they have to fill it out. It's required. Nice. I don't care if your name is Jacob. And there have been people like, it's pronounced how it looks. I'm like, no. I need you to pronounce this. I need you to tell me. And sure enough, there have been ones where I would have totally got it wrong. Like there was one dude, it looked like Michael, but it was pronounced Meikle. It looked like those are the things that will get you. And the last thing I want to do is to disrespect somebody by getting their name wrong. That's incredible. That's basic, important human interaction to me. Is getting somebody's name wrong, because I know how I feel when people get my name wrong. I'm irritated in an unreasonable way when Taco Bell says Stefan, or when first time it ever happened to me. I ordered a sandwich at Firehouse Subs, and I was like, my name's Steven with a PH, and they wrote it down, with a PH. The person at the cashier evidently knew that that's some people spell their name that way. Got to the end, dude goes, Stefan? And I said, oh, it's pronounced Steven. He goes, well, it's spelled Stefan. I was like, not only did you get it wrong, you just argued with me about it. over my name. I was furious. I
Yeah.
fussed for way longer than I should have. Like, I had a real struggle with forgiveness
For
that day.
everybody trying to picture this, just picture the Taco Bell dog trying to jump on the counter.
I was
That's
so
Steven
mad.
mad.
I was so mad because I'm just like, it's okay if you got it wrong. That's fine. But don't argue with me about it. Like, don't tell me I'm wrong. It's not okay.
Pronounced Stefan. It's not written
No.
Stefan. That'd be Stephan.
Yes.
Stefan or Stefan.
Thank you. Yeah.
You know, I had a kid go to my ENT school, and then I won't come back to this, that skit. You done messed up, Aaron.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And random kid, you're right. There is power in a name. And when you know somebody does it intentionally, that's, them trying to take power. But I had this kid go to my EMT school, and I'm going to just put in the first name right here in chat so we can all see it, and I'll pop it on the screen. How do you pronounce that?
I would pronounce that Chiron.
Exactly. In the English, like Kyrone, like Tyrone, but with a K. And in the English language and most other languages in the world, that KY is a hard K, whatever. And ONE. One. So super, I learned that my word girl, super vowels and all that jazz. Yeah. So I was like, all right, Chiron, because it's Chiron. I mean, I don't normally do this with people, but yeah, no, it's not. Not at all, dude. Not you. What country did you come from? He goes, America. So what about your parents? America. Well, then that is not Chiron, my friend. You put an E on it. You want it to be Chiron? You don't put an E on it. Kyron. Chiron all day long. I got you, boo-boo, but not Chiron. And he's like, well, my mama said, like, and of course he was having fun with it. It's like, well, your mama's an idiot, so you better do good in this school so you can help her get an education.
You were that guy. You were that guy. You were the Firehouse Subs guy. I will argue with you. Well, okay.
I did, but you would have been laughing. I would have argued with you. It's like, well, it's spelled Jacob, but I tried to get it close to your name, sir.
Different, and that's a different interaction. That's a whole different vibe. Right. It's not the guy at Firehouse telling you pronounce your name incorrectly for the last 37 years or whatever. Like that's. But you make a good point, though. I do the same thing with Sam. If I see something that I think is not good behavior, I'll point it out to him. I use other people as an example. Like, I've been at stores before where there's a total lack of effort being given on some task. And I'll just look at him like, Sam, to succeed in this world, you don't even have to try that hard. You just have to try harder than them. And that's not a high bar. You know what I mean? And I will tell him. Like, I was talking to my buddy Jacob about it. I said, I'm convinced that your education is important, but your ability to work a room and talk to people is like 85% of your success. Like, because I feel like I stumbled into where I am for the most part, being like the nice guy who would work hard and do the job and put the effort in. Sure. But I think the kindness got me.
Effort matters.
Yeah, the effort mattered a lot. I'm not a quitter. I'd learn stuff and I work, but like, the kindness helped a lot. I know smart people who are buttholes that didn't get as far as fast, Yeah. And so I try to teach him, like, if you just be cool, because if you can work a room, it almost helps everything else you're doing. Like, the ability to interact and work a room with people will kind of, part of that is doing a job well. You know what I mean? It is putting the toilet paper on top of the freezers at CVS because you were told to, and doing it now. Like, it's not that hard. Just make it happen. So yeah, I use other people as examples all the time.
Yeah.
Of what not to do. And what to do.
Random kids telling the names. The Midwesties love spelling names in weird ways. But there's that football player named the Coldest Wand.
Dude, that's that kid Phil sketch with Jaquarius Jaquarion.
Yeah.
Galfalatrix Munkadushu.
Honestly, I have seen some names of people. The one I hated the most on behalf of this guy. And again, I find some names interesting, and it's a good conversation starter. And I don't interact with the help. When I go to a restaurant, just serve me. But in this case, he came up and his name was Jaycn. Right. oh, that's interesting. How do you pronounce that? He went, he got all defeated, like, Jason. I'm like, for your tippies, did they hate you? What is it? Like, I don't know, man. I was like, I get it, dude. I'm not making, I thought it was gonna be like J Ken or something interesting with a story behind it. But when you say Jason, you hear Jason. Why spell it differently just because? Nobody's gonna get, then they're gonna ask you how do you.
You're never gonna find the pocket knife at the gift shop with your name on it.
Yeah. Never. But you're talking about working harder. I use a little different, more aggressive words, but I've instituted in my kids, you're better than everybody else until you're not.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Just accept that. Just accept, because you've been raised to have culture. You've had experiences. We push you in hard ways. You're going to be better at things than other people, but that's okay. You need to accept that about yourself. Don't ever. You want to talk about something that gets me rage fast? And I've learned to temper it and to not, I mean, I still get instant, very disappointed because my son did it at a party the other night when my smart kids, and all four of them are smart, they play stupid. They choose stupid. And even as a joke, I just hate it with a passion. And I just will never want to interact with them when they're doing that, because like, you're smart, own that you're smart. Oh, because, for my entire life, I had to hide well, not entire, but a lot of my childhood and teenage years and college had to hide who I was. Just own that if you can just become okay with you're better than most people you interact with, then that lets you bring them up and entertain and have, there's nothing wrong with, I say this, I say this to my kids, don't judge. Well, we listen and sometimes we do judge. So I tell my kids, like, it's okay to hang out with stupid people. That could be most of the people you hang out with, but just enjoy them for who they are. And I mean, look, I hang out with Phil, and that's just my Help for the Handicap thing that he Make-A-Wish Foundation, but it makes him happy. And I enjoy hanging out with the kiddo there. He's cool.
Don't lower yourself, but don't be a know-it-all around everybody. You don't have to. You don't have to actually everybody to death. You can just let people enjoy a conversation for what it is. But and this goes back to the whole authenticity thing. Be who you are. Let them be who they are. And if you don't jive or you find yourself being pulled down, that's what I think is a big thing to be wary of. Am I being pulled down by the people I'm around? Because you are the people you run with. That's a well-known thing. Like the five people that are closest to you, that's who you are. And if that's not who you want to be, find a way out of that situation. Find a different room to get into. Because that's but I think you could totally be smart. Be the bright kid. Just don't you don't have to flaunt it, but don't put yourself down and act. I knew some people that acted stupid, and it drove me bonkers. So if my kid's like pleading ignorance, I'm like, you know how to do that. I've seen you do it. Like, don't mess with me. Be proud of what you know. Like, I know how to wire this, or I can, for little kids, like simple stuff, I can plug in my own Xbox. Like, great. That's something to be proud of, because there's another kid that can't. And he's asking his dad, and you're doing it by yourself. Be proud of that. Yeah,
exactly. I pride in your achievements. And we've used things like, oh, you messed up now because you just showed us, you listened to us, and you can do the thing that you pretended not to do. So guess what? That's the bar, bud. It's been set now. And then the kindness. Now, both of the things, owning your smartness, but also making room for others. That's that part of don't actually people that random kids spelled it correctly.
Spelled it exactly how it's spelled.
ACKSHUALLY. That's how it's pronounced right there. He does say playing stupid at work and voice responsibility. I hate that one, but I'll take the second part of your sentence. The second part of the sentence is keeping your mouth shut helps you avoid assignments. Absolutely. Just because you can't. That's the other thing I told him. Just because you can doesn't mean you need to. It's also part of making room for others, because if you always do, there's nobody else who can try. And then you'll get frustrated. Good.
Yeah, and to add on to that, doing too much and being the guy for everything can make you irreplaceable. And if you can't be replaced, you can't be promoted. Don't
Yep.
forget that. that's
Then you
also
feel
important.
guilty when you leave to go somewhere else that will promote you because now you've left them in the. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, and they're going to call you. They're going to do it. They're going to
Yeah.
say, "Hey, man, we couldn't figure this out. Can you help us for a second?" And you're going to have to say no. I did that. I literally said, "It's been 6 months since I left that job. I love you guys. I
6
can't.
months. Wow.
I can't
Yeah.
do it." Yeah, they called me 6 months later. Hey, could you walk us through this? We'll pay you contractor money. I'm like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm in a new place. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you needed this, you should have called me a week after I left during my transitional time. But I'm out now because I will help a little. If I know something, I'm not going to hold it back just to hold it back.
Ooh.
But at that point, I'd forgotten so much. I'm like, you out of luck, buddy.
We're
Not
talking
coming back.
Right. We're talking a lot about basically kind of self-value, knowing how to value what you do, who you are, what you bring to the table. And that's something we've got. And that's the other thing too. We live very out loud in my house. And so if something goes on with one of the kids, we use it as an example for all the kids. Hey, pay attention to what your sister's doing. This is what's bad. This is what's good or whatever. And specifically with my oldest daughter, she has been that outgoing one to try this club, to try this thing at school, to try this thing, try this thing. And I kept pointing out to her, you're doing great. Only be a part of this until you outrun them because they're not valuing you at all. So only get what you can get out of this. And at first, as a 8, 9, 10-year-old, she was like, whatever, I like people. But as she got older, into 12, 14, 16, about 16, it really, 15, 16, really started to click of value. And at 15, she got a job at this little pizza shop. And within a couple of weeks, the owner was like giving her keys to run the place. Like, no. Said, you don't have any experience to understand the work world you're going in. What you are is mature, and you're my kid, and you've been put together well, and you know how to handle business to a certain extent. But you are not closing that store in a neighborhood that tends to get robbed.
Yeah.
That's not, because you will not see it coming. That's not a thing. This guy's an idiot, and I'm about to go tell him he's an idiot for handing a 15-year-old keys to the building.
Yeah.
But so she's picked up on that value. And then when I do hear, when somebody goes, I said, value is not that they have to take your ideas, but at least they acknowledge it and say, that's a great thing, but we're going in this direction for this way, or we'll take part of it. And she finally found a group that did that for a couple of years, and it's helped her grow. Yeah. And now she's leaving them because they have digressed into a thing that doesn't listen, and the value is not there anymore. And that I think in every era. And it's just getting louder and louder today as we enter 2025 with all the mouthpieces on social media and TV and YouTube everywhere that we have to understand. Does it really matter to you? I mean, I'll be bluntly honest. Does the war in Ukraine and Russia matter to me? Well, I don't like bullies. But other than that, no, because it's not affecting my daily life. I'm not going to let the negativity of any of it wear me down.
There's a place to show concern. There's a place to donate to causes that you believe in, that matter to you. But I don't need to change emojis on my Twitter to tell everyone else how I feel all the time. That's not my brand. I'm not a political firebrand who's going to tell everybody who to be or whatever. I'm just out there to have a good time. I want you to know that you're loved and cared about by somebody, and we're all in this, trying to go from day to day. And I have limited my news. I've limited the engagement in those kinds of things like you're talking about. I can't do anything about exploding cars. I can't do anything about, all I can do is, tell people what I'm, if they ask, like, I do not like that. But that's all. Other than that, man, I got to feed my kid. I got to take care of my wife. I got to do this. I got to take care of my neighbors around me where I can make an impact. People have babies. I can go take them dinner. People have life troubles. Grandma's having an issue. I can go mow their lawn. Those are areas. And if everyone just worked in their own little 1 square mile, helping out folks around them, like that's how this should be working. You can't do anything about what happened in Las Vegas. You can, there's a whole lot we could go in. That's a whole different show. You done triggered me, Charles.
I know.
But
you know what?
Take care of your corner. You know what I mean? And everybody take care of their corner, and the people around them will be all right.
couldn't end it on a better note. But for the patrons, we are going to continue a little bit of that conversation where I'm going to wrap up my thoughts about teaching my kid kindness. And Steven's probably going to go a nice world-changing diatribe that you can only get for $29.99 a minute over at what? It's patreon.com/wise_n_nerdy. It's a lot cheaper than that. Come join us, but we're going to finish this conversation over there. Steven, thanks for being on tonight. Where can they find you?
Thank you so much for having me. I'm over on the Blue Sky these days, stevehnh.bsky.social. You can find me there. You can also find me on Those Were the Days, a podcast about all your favorite classic TV shows, which I do with Amy Frost, Audie Norman, and TV's Travis. You can find that at all your podcast locations at Those Were the Days. Just look for the amazing Audie cover art of our four faces inside of an old TV. You'll find it there. Or you can just go to legionofdorks.com. where you can find links to all the stuff we do. It's a great time. Check it out.
Such fun. Next week, Joe will be back, and we'll see what happens after that. Love you all. Listen to more Wise and Nerdy.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock God of Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website, wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
Wise and Nerdy, the best podcast ever. I've got to get back to Audie about getting our art updated by him.
Oh, yeah. He's the best. That's touching, right?